everybody. So this week we're talking about, yesterday we talked about the immune system and how our immune system works to protect our body and fight off invaders. Today we're going to talk about first aid. So we do everything we can to keep our bodies healthy, and we also do everything we can to keep our bodies from being injured, right? So we might be safe or cautious, but even though we're as safe and cautious as we can be, sometimes we get injuries, right? Like I have a cut on my finger from when I was slicing an orange, or you might fall off your bike and get a scrape on your knee, or bump, like sometimes you might trip and fall and you get a bump on your elbow, get a bruise. All kinds of things can happen. We can get all kinds of injuries. We can tear a muscle. Like remember I told you the story when I tore my calf muscle during PE once. There's so many things that can happen even when we're careful. But today we're going to need our apple friends. So your apple should be prepared ahead of time, and you have the googly eyes, and I made a mouth and gave mine a face. And I want you to think of a name for your apple. I'm going to call my apple Betty. Okay? So my apple is Betty. And this is my sweet little apple. So introduce yourself to your apple. Hi, Betty. I'm Becky. Nice to meet you. Introduce yourself to your apple. Okay. And now we need to do a little work taking care of our apples. Because even though our apples were trying to be really safe and cautious, they have some injuries. Like the first thing I notice on my apple, Betty, is that she has a cut. Do you see right there? Betty has a cut. Oh no, it's kind of like what happened to my finger. I got a cut. There's a fancy word for a cut like this. We call it a laceration. You want to say that word with me? Laceration. A laceration is a cut like this. My Betty has a kind of a deep cut. So let's learn how to take care of a cut like that. What would we do? We want to clean it. And you can sometimes put some ointment or a salve on there. And then I want to cover it up with a bandage. So you should have some Band-Aids that you'll need to use to help out with that cut. And then we're going to need to clean the wound first. So come with me. We're going to take a trip to the sink and I'll show you how we can really clean off this wound. Okay, hi everyone. Here we are in my bathroom where I came to take care of this wound, this cut, the laceration on Betty. So the first step, the first thing you'll want to do is use some soap and water to clean it off. Okay, so I'm going to get some soap. I have my hand soap here. I'm going to get some soap. I'm going to use warm water. Warm water is good. You don't want it to be too hot to burn you. And you want to do warm water because you're more likely to really do a good cleaning if it's not freezing cold and you want to get out of the cold water. So warm water. So I'm just going to put the soap on here. I might need a little bit more soap. And I'm just going to kind of put it on the cut. You want to be gentle because you know when you have a cut, it hurts if you scrub it too hard. So be gentle, but you also want to get it clean. If you fell like outside in the pavement, you want to make sure you're getting the dirt and gravel out of your cut. So soap and water, and we'll clean off our apple cuts here. So I'm rinsing all the soap off. Okay, I think mine looks clean. So Betty's cut is clean now. And then you'll want to pat it dry. So you can either use a paper towel because you'll know that'll be clean, or I have a towel here that I'm just going to pat it dry with. This was a clean towel that hasn't been used yet. I don't want to use my hand towel from up on the wall because it's been used before and it could have a germ. And remember we learned yesterday about germs invading our body. And one way that they can get in is through any kind of break in the skin. So we don't want a germ to get in. So we want to make sure, and that's one of the things we do when we're cleaning, as we're cleaning out the germs. So I'm going to just pat it dry. I'm being real gentle because we all know that a cut can really hurt, right? So I'm being gentle to dry off Betty's cut. And you want to make sure you really get it dry because otherwise you'll have a hard time getting the Band-Aid to stick. Okay, so Betty, just stay there for a minute. And then if you have an ointment, you might use like an antibacterial ointment, or you might use some kind of salve like this. This is a healing salve. I'll put a little bit of this on. For these, you just use your fingers, so you want to make sure your hand is clean first. And I'm just going to wipe that on, whatever ointment you use or salve, you're going to wipe it on to Betty's cut. Now I'm going to wipe off the extra on my towel. And now I'm ready to put a Band-Aid on. And if you have a cut that's bleeding a whole lot, you can also hold a cloth or a piece of paper towel or tissue on it and apply pressure. So you might go like this. If it was bleeding a whole lot, I could use a clean cloth, but I'd probably use a paper towel because if blood got onto my towel, it would stain it. So you probably want to use a paper towel for this, but you could hold it and just apply pressure on it to get the bleeding to stop. But you have to do that for a few minutes, okay? So Betty's cut is clean. I have ointment on it, and I have a Band-Aid to put on. So I'm going to open up my Band-Aid. There's my Band-Aid. It's cool one. Who is that? Is it Luke Skywalker or Han Solo? I'm not good with my Star Wars characters, so someone will have to tell me. Okay, so then I'm opening up my Band-Aid and I'm going to put it right here on Betty. There we go. Betty is bandaged up. I hope you're feeling better, Betty. I'm glad that we got that cut all taken care of. That looks good. What else happened when you fell, Betty? Oh my gosh, look at Betty. I noticed Betty has a bruise. We're going to have to take care of that bruise. Okay, so we'll need to go back out in the other room to take care of the bruise. Oh, Betty, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go and take care of Betty some more. Okay, so you can see the bruise. You see how it's a different color? Bruises often look a different color on our skin, right? So bruises might be like a purplish color or kind of like bluish purple. As they heal, sometimes they start to look a little bit yellowish, but a fresh blue bruise will be kind of like purpley blue on your skin, okay? So a bruise comes, well, we didn't talk about this with cuts, but cuts come when there's something kind of sharp that gets along your skin and breaks your skin, right? It breaks the surface of your skin. And they can be just like a scrape, like a little bit of a breaking of the skin, or they can be deep where it breaks the skin a lot and even maybe the next layers and it can bleed a lot. So cuts can be different. This is a bruise. So a bruise, the skin doesn't break, but some of the blood vessels underneath the skin get broken, and that's what you see there is the blood in the bruise. So I'm going to take care of Betty's bruise with an ice pack. Okay, so sometimes if a bruise doesn't bother you, you might not have to do anything, but sometimes they might swell up and get a little bit swollen. So I have an ice pack here that I got out of my freezer, and this is really cold. I don't really like to hold it just like it is because it's so cold. So I usually do this. I have a napkin, a cloth napkin, and I will wrap the ice pack in the cloth napkin so that now it's not so cold now. It feels okay. And now, so Betty has a pretty good sized bruise. Poor Betty. I'm going to just hold the ice pack on Betty for a while. Okay, so you can just hold it gently right on the bruise. And if you were doing this to a person, you could give them the ice pack to hold on themselves, or it's really sweet sometimes when you hold an ice pack on for somebody, so you could do that. But just to make it feel better, the ice pack can also help if it's swollen, will help it be less swollen. So I'm just going to hold this here in Betty for a little while until Betty feels better. I think Betty is smiling, so it must not hurt too bad. think Betty will be okay. Okay, so I want you to take care of your apple's bruise. So you might, if you don't have an ice pack like this, you can use like ice cubes. If you have ice cubes, you can take those and you can either wrap them in a napkin like this, but then they might melt and you'd have water, right? So you might want to put them in a little baggie first before you wrap them in a cloth. You could do the same thing because they'll be cold to wrap in a cloth, but then hold the ice right on your apple until your apple's feeling all better. What, Betty? Oh, I think Betty said she's feeling all better, so I don't have to hold this ice pack on her anymore. Bruises will take a few days to heal, so it's not going to look better right away, but it will take a few days. Okay, but remember, we're just pretending with our apple. So with an apple, it might not fully heal, but on a person, a bruise will heal. It might take a few days, it might take a week. It depends on the bruise, how long it takes to heal. And it can be a little bit sensitive to touch, so you want to be gentle with a bruise. Okay, I think that Betty is all taken care of and Betty's doing better. How's your apple doing? Is it feeling better? Thanks for being a really great nurse and taking care of your apple today. So if you get a cut or you get a bruise, those are some of the things you can do to take care of your body. Okay. Thanks for doctoring up your apple today. Thanks for taking great care of your apple. I'm sure your apple really appreciates it. See you later, everyone.